Thank you so much, everyone, for being here and honoring Nicholas Nahai, who truly embodied and defined what it means to be a perfect person. I guarantee everyone in this room has a personal story with Nick, where they saw firsthand his wit and infectious humor. If I hand this mic to anyone here, you would hear different anecdotes of this hilarious and unbelievably comedic skill that no person his age should have. His creativity with words was unmatched, comedic timing impeccable, and laughter infectious. It's one thing to be funny, but he had the ability to be sincere. He had the ability to be simultaneously sincere and warm, a duality that only comes with natural talent that he was born with, alongside the purest of hearts. Growing up, I loved to show off my little brother to people he's never met, smirking in deep satisfaction and seeing their eyes light up in surprise when they realize this is far from an ordinary person. And the reality is Nick is one in a billion, a true light, a ray of sunshine, beacon of hope, support, and a pillar personified. And nothing showed that more than when life dealt him the most unfair hand imaginable. But through it all, he took care of us and held us up. When he was told as a 19-year-old that he had a tumor in his heart, he put his hand on my mom's leg and told her everything is going to be okay before she even had a chance to process those words. And in his last scan, he did the same thing to my dad, looking at him in the eyes and telling him to keep the family together and for us not to be too distraught. He had a selfless nature, an inner strength, and a perspective on life that in my whole lifetime, I will never be able to match. Nothing was a burden for Nicholas. In fact, he was incredibly open-minded and joined in on anything. He joined our girl group dinners, no matter how last minute the invites, would be my +1 for all my gaming events, would watch any anime I forced him to watch, dropped me off at the airport while we laughed about my mom's extra spicy breakfast at odd hours in the morning. He waited patiently in all-day shopping trips to London with my mom and my sister, came with me to Manchester to see Man United when no one else would come with me, and sat through hour-plus lectures on my crackpot theories about video games that we love to share together. He was down for anything, partly because he loved making the people around him happy, but also because he just loved life in its many incredible forms. Nick may have complimented me better than anyone. He let me be me in all my overt passions and unhinged characteristics, and loved me for who I was at my core. While I always tried to pursue perfection for the people around me, I never had to be anything but myself with him. And so few things make me happier than those small moments where I could finally return the favor, helping Nick and his incredible partner Addy plan their Japan and Europe trips, making sure Nick got the top 5 bagels in New York City, or rubbing Nick's back for a moment of relief from the pain in the hospital. I won't get into how tragic and heartbreaking it was that this 1 in a billion man faced a 1 in a billion disease, because it really was a 1 in a billion disease, because he refused to let it define him. In one of my last conversations with Nick, he told me that I really inspired him. But the reality of it all is he inspired me and us down to our very being. He inspired my outlook, my strength, and who I want to be in this world. Nick, I'm not sure I'll ever have your bravery, your selflessness, and God knows your patience, but I promise to always try my best by you. I wanted to take a moment to recognize my family who was with Nick at every step, in every process, every phase. This is going to be a large oversimplification, but my sister Karina for always bringing a smile and creating moments of joy through every occasion, my brother Ashton for being Nick's absolute best friend, continuing to uplift him, grounding his life in fun and normality, and being his idol, my dad for never giving up, fighting so hard to find a cure, being the family rock, and the resident expert on Nick's health, even getting medications before they were even approved. My mom for being by his side every single step, focusing her whole life and being on Nick, being for him intimately and deeply on a spiritual, emotional, and present level. And Addy, the love of Nick's life, who gave him such deep, true love and significant purpose. I'm really in awe of my amazing family. I always asked my parents for Nick before he was even born. And I think I did that because I always knew we just weren't complete without him. My dad always instilled a sense of unity in us. We are one. And I know in my heart of hearts that will never change. The bond I have with my 3 siblings is reflected in our very souls.
Next, we would love to welcome one of Nicholas's best friends, Nemo, to speak.
Hi everyone, my name is Nemo. Today we gather to celebrate the life of someone that's truly unforgettable. The most selfless and strongest person I know, my dear friend Nicholas. Nick was a one-of-a-kind person who could fill any room with laughter and joy in its purest form. He had an incredible ability to bring out the best in everyone around him. His humor was unmatched, whether it was one of his patented one-liners or an impromptu stand-up session. Nick never failed to brighten the day of those around him. I first met Nick in 6th grade, and we quickly became best of friends. Our friendship later grew while living together throughout college, which was an adventure of its own. From him cooking up the meanest of English breakfasts, to staying up late playing Super Smash Brothers, to debating whose turn it was to pick up our buy one, get one 50% off Subway sandwiches. Every moment was filled with laughter and camaraderie. Nick had a knack for making even the most mundane experiences unforgettable. One of the many memories that I'll always cherish is our trip to Vegas on Memorial Day weekend a few years ago. After a perfect weekend of sipping tea at the pie table and rolling 8s the hard way, we got in the car to head back home. What should have been a 5-hour drive turned out to be a grueling 10-hour ordeal, thanks to the holiday traffic. While the rest of us groaned about the long drive that we were in for, Nick saw this as an opportunity. Soon after we hit the road, he started on what was a 10-hour marathon of jokes. It was incredible. One after another, he wouldn't stop. It was amazing. Nick turned what would normally be the dullest part of that weekend into the absolute best. To this day, when I think of that trip, the first thing that comes to my mind is that car ride and Nick making us laugh till our bellies hurt in the middle of gridlock traffic. Nick's strength and selflessness were truly remarkable. Dare I say, maybe his best qualities. From the day we met, he was always our rock, a person you could unquestionably rely on. He could take any weight off your shoulders and lift you right back up. Through his 7-year battle, that didn't change one bit. Nick always stayed true to himself and gave us the gift of his humor, his love, and his care. Despite everything he was dealing with, He kept a smile on his face and never wanted anyone to worry about him. He turned the focus away from himself and asked about others. His heart was as sweet as it was strong. Nick's incredible character was undoubtedly shaped by the love and support of his family. Kayvon and Grace, thank you for giving us such a perfect human. He would always speak about you with such love and respect. Tatiana, Karina, and Ashton, Nick loved you guys so much. He would always share how proud he was about your achievements and share hilarious family moments that had us cracking up every time. Family meant everything to him, and he's a reflection of the beautiful family that he grew up with. Addy, thank you for being the love of Nick's life. His eyes would light up every time he spoke about you. You brought him so much joy and care and comfort. The love you guys share will always be an inspiration to anyone who knew it. I'm going to miss Nick and hearing him say, "Mr. Neiman, why am I not surprised?" every time he'd answer my phone call. And watching him nervously pace back and forth, watching the Clippers play, and listening to him test out his stand-up jokes from his legendary notes app. As much pain as it brings me to say goodbye, I know he said peace. And he'll always be with us. This past week, as we've shared priceless stories, photos, and videos, I've realized something beautiful. Even to this day, Nick continues to bring us joy and laughter through the memories he gave us. And that's exactly how he would have wanted it. He was a gift to this world, and I'm so lucky to have called him my best friend. Nick, I love you. Thank you for everything. Rest easy, brother.
I can't thank you all enough for coming again to celebrate the life of my brother, Nicholas. I spoke at the burial service about how close Nicholas and I are, a truly inseparable bond since he was born, and I want to share a few stories that encompass the raw beauty of Nicholas and our relationship. I had the privilege of sharing a room with Nick for 10 years when we were young, and I can barely describe the innocent joy and happiness we shared waking up for school together every morning. The way he would open his big eyes and smile at me, generously always shouting first so I could sleep longer, and the way he would give me the biggest thank you and unconditional love for simply laying out his clothes and making him the most basic of breakfast. That was the identity of our relationship. It wasn't the grand gestures, it was a hug, a smile, a phone call, or me just driving him in the car with his favorite playlist so we could have a nap. Never an ounce of animosity, fighting, or jealousy. It was absolutely perfect. Nick was also famously generous beyond his age or comprehension. I'll never forget our summers in Europe growing up when my mom would always give us some money to shop with. When 12-year-old Ashton fell in love with a Versace button-down, but didn't have enough to afford a boy or given. Before I could even ask my parents, Nick handed me most of what he had. That's who he was and always has been, larger than life itself, a gem in an imperfect world, an angel beyond what I can imagine. After seeing my spending habits, it made sense that Nick ended up working in wealth management at Merrill Lynch. To none of our surprise, he quickly rose to the best of his class. I'll never forget when he unknowingly called the husband of the woman that was unfortunately accidentally killed by Alec Baldwin a few years ago. Nick was just 22 at the time and he had no idea who he was calling. And he spoke with that gentleman for hours, different meetings, consoling him and building a friendship that resulted in Nick eventually managing millions of dollars on his behalf. At the worst time imaginable in a gentleman's life, he found solace in a 22-year-old Nicholas who he had never met, a young adult just trying to find his way. Nick had an effortless comfort and ease that he gave those around him, one that I'm sure we've all felt. He was so happy during that time, and so was I. His office was right next to mine, so of course we had lunch during work together every day of the week, often finding ourselves struggling to say goodbye to each other, even though we lived with each other and we're going to see each other for dinner that same evening. When Nick was diagnosed with this illness, he showed a strength and selflessness that I didn't quite understand or know was possible. On that fateful day when he was just 19, he didn't react with sadness, tears, or negative emotion. He only ever focused on one part of his life. That was the happiness of those around him, irregardless of his own circumstances. This continued throughout the 7-year battle. Hundreds of hospital visits, medications, negative news, unbearable pain, nausea, and the toughest of mental battles. And he never complained. Even during the last few days, even in the face of what he knew was coming, his influence somehow only magnified. I'm so grateful we told each other all we felt during that time. My tears were streaming onto his shirt. How much we loved each other. How we were better brothers than anything we could have ever prayed for. And how we would take our 26 years together, over 120 with anyone else. The last time I saw him, I kissed him on the cheek. And I was walking out, and he called me so he could kiss me back. My mother stayed with him that night, which happened to be the night of his passing. And Nick was fighting for every last breath. Even in his unimaginable struggle, he noticed how cold my mother was in the hospital room and asked the nurse to give her a heated blanket before doing anything for himself. He really was larger than life, so much that I've often wondered why God was making the most perfect human suffer. I started wrapping Tiflin every morning since his first diagnosis, often finding myself crying, screaming, even pleading with God just to cure him, offer him whatever he needs to take for me to give Nick his chance of being healthy. I had a conversation with dear friend Rabbi Levy a couple days ago, who shared with me the holiness of the day Nick passed, which I want to share with all of you. First, Nick was 26 years old when he passed, which of course is God's number, and he'll remain 26 forever. Second, Nicholas was buried just prior to Shabbat, which as we know is a day of rest, and his soul went uninterrupted to heaven and did not need to wait, just as he deserved. The third is the 30th days of Nick's passing also falls on Shabbat, and happens to be the day in which we all read the 10 Commandments and discuss the tree of life. There wasn't anyone who adhered to those principles more than Nicholas. Fourth, the day Nick passed falls on the reading of the Torah, in which God is speaking to Moses through a burning bush on top of a mountain. The symbolism was significant. God shows us more than we can see in the naked eye, and while asking for our trust, makes it aware that he not only feels our pain and suffering, but is always there for protection. 2 days after Nick's passing, my family and I were awoken by the smell of smoke in the evening. Looking out, we saw, at the top of a mountain, a bush burning right off the road, just 50 feet from our house with the smoke angling towards us. It assured me that Nick is at free, he's at peace, he's looking over us, he's protecting us, and I know that God has only the biggest plans for him. I'll always say he was too good for this world. And Nick, I've felt you so much since your passing. Life has been unimaginably difficult without you here. I would give up my life to wake up early. On a Saturday with you again. Have our morning coffee and watch Manchester United somehow always ruin the rest of our weekend. But I know you're at such peace right now, finally out of the body that couldn't match your larger-than-life, most perfect soul. I've loved talking to you the past few days, looking up at the sky and the sun and the moon and the stars. I know you're there listening. I'll keep doing what we've always loved. And most importantly, I will take care of the family just like you did. I can't wait for all the little signs you'll send that show you're looking over us. It will stay so strong, just like you asked. Our mom and dad and all of us are proud you chose us, our perfect angel.
Ashton, I want to tell you that Tatiana and I are so proud of how you're holding the mantle that belongs to both you and Nicholas. You are such a man and we love you with all our hearts. Next, we would like to invite Mike to speak.
Thank you all for being here to honor such a special man. Nick was my brother-in-law and in many ways felt just like a brother. From the moment I met him when he was just 8 years old, it was clear to me just how special he really was. I first met Nick at Chapman University. Tatiana invited Nick to visit and sleep over at her freshman dorm. Unfazed by being surrounded by 18, 19, 20-year-old college students, at such a young age, Nick relished being the center of attention. Thank you. I remember him cold in court in the middle of my dorm room, ripping on and cracking jokes to whoever entered the room. He made a clear impression. Some of my friends that met him that day as well are here today as well. When I first started dating Tatiana, she would bring me to many family functions and events. And at first they could be a little overwhelming, figuring out, meeting, and remembering her wide, extended family. And I always found myself drawn to Nick at those events in the early days. He made me feel so welcome in this family, and always brought so much joy at those get-togethers. Probably the most excited I ever saw Nick was years ago when he proudly showed me his brand new car, a blue Hyundai. While his brother and sisters drove BMWs, Mercedes, Audis, you name it, Nick was so pleased with his more practical and reasonably priced choice. He didn't need anything flashy. It brought him way more happiness to know that he had outsmarted the world and got the best possible deal. Nick was incredibly smart in that way. So much so that his sports bookie, I'm told, dropped him because he was winning too many bets. As Tatiana and I dated, got engaged, and married, it was such a privilege to see the man he became, to see him find genuine love with Addy, to see him start a career. And honestly, I'm in awe. It has been said by so many people here. Just the grace and determination, and without complaint, that you've battled this disease. So thank you for everything, Nick. We all love you here.
Next, we'll ask that John comes up to speak.
Thank you for the outpouring of love and support. The resilience of Kayvon, Tatiana, Karina, and Ashton have displayed the strength of their family unit and their unbreakable love for each other. My anger and sadness are in a tug of war, but at the center of that is my deep appreciation for having had the privilege of knowing Nicholas and spending a significant amount of time with him, especially during his battle. I'm Nicholas's first cousin, but he was truly my brother. I'm nearly 10 years older than Nicholas, but was constantly taken aback by his maturity and incredible perspective on life. He was wise beyond his years. He was one of the funniest humans I've ever met, always quick with a joke and whip smart, a trait he never lost despite significant obstacles. He excelled in all areas and never turned down a challenge, often carving his own path and taking the road less traveled, including his support for the Clippers well before they were any good. His desire to learn Chinese was another example of his individualism and appetite for unique experiences. Our shared passion for sports, especially soccer, basketball, and football, was often one we shared and experienced together. My bond with Nicholas and Ashton grew immensely when they started joining my father Behzad and I for our Saturday morning soccer games. What better way to make you feel more alive, and quite frankly, more Persian, than a group of middle-aged men yelling at each other in the tranquil setting of Will Rogers State Park in the Palisades. It became a weekly tradition and one we would cherish deeply. The joy those few hours brought our lives enabled us to forget any stresses or personal issues we were experiencing off the field. And for Nicholas, it gave him a unique opportunity to showcase his leadership and controlled aggression. He was a warrior every time he stepped out on the field, always holding the defensive line and shepherding us to our next point of attack. As he slowly moved up the field, he pushed our offensive line and allowed Ashton or me the freedom to score, always joining us in a frenzied celebration. Our competitive nature always fed our desire to win, but even if we didn't emerge victorious, getting to spend every Saturday with my two younger cousins, which included post-soccer weightlifting in our garage, was one of the biggest joys I've ever experienced. Our post-game meals dating back to before COVID were just as enjoyable and meaningful as the games themselves. What mattered most was that we were together, brothers in arms. Nicholas's desire to compete and win mirrored his unwavering and brave fight for the last 7 years. On his off weeks from treatment, Nicholas was always on the field, raring to go. I would check in on him on a weekly basis, and each time he told me he'd be playing, I was overcome with happiness. I could not wait to get back out there with him. Even before the game started, the memory of him and Ashton just warming up and passing the ball to one another is one I will cherish forever. Sharing these experiences emphasize our sense of camaraderie, unity, and commitment to our well-being and growth. The importance of brotherhood shone through, and I'm so grateful I had the opportunity to be a part of it. Throughout Nicholas's battle, his love for his family and his beloved Addy were as constant as his radiant smile and kind eyes. I'd often joke with Nicholas that I couldn't get a girlfriend all of college, and he managed to find the love of his life within the 1 week of his freshman year. Nicholas and Addy are and forever will be a beautiful example of why love is worth fighting for, even in the face of extreme adversity. Anytime you were in Nicholas's presence, you automatically felt better about yourself, as he had a natural way of uplifting you. His purity and strength and depth of character made him the most special person in the room. On the last 2 occasions I saw Nicholas, he had not lost any of his humor or sense of self. His warrior spirit was evidenced by his strong-willed desire to walk through the corridors of the ward with Ashton and I. We were on either side of him, once again, brothers in arms and on the offensive. Nicholas was truly the best of us. He universally and unconditionally loved his family and never expected anything in return. He was devoid of materialism and superficiality, and thought about everyone ahead of himself. His selflessness and lust for life are the standards to which I will hold myself going forward. Nicholas always lived life to its fullest, never dwelling on the opinions of others or conforming to a lifestyle that was not true to himself. His amazing trips with Addy, love for all types of music, including Taylor Swift, and his unique style truly made Nicholas one of one. I'll never forget our last soccer outing together. A resounding victory with Nicholas scoring the last goal of the game. What would feel like any other goal to an innocent bystander felt like winning the lottery to us. Nicholas yelling, "Come on," while pumping his fists and fiercely high-fiving us made us all feel euphoric. I'm overcome with deep sadness, and I will desperately miss Nicholas on and off the field. But I know his desire would be for all of us to live life to the fullest as he did. Nicholas, I love you with all my heart.
We would love to welcome Uncle Behzad to speak.
Good evening. His sullen eyes stared into an abyss. Oblivious to the many around him, he tried to make sense of the tragedy that had befallen him. As he was about to question why, he was told, "You do not question God's will." That was 39 years ago, when our father lost his firstborn, our brother, just short of his 34th birthday. 39 years hence, our family is faced with an even greater tragedy. The jagged knife ferociously struck, leaving an even deeper and infinite wound. I ponder whether one may now question God's will. Last Thursday, around 7:45 a.m., Kayvon texted me the three most devastating words: "Nicholas is gone." Given our closeness from a tender age, I knew how he felt, and he knew what a profound effect those few words would have on me. Yet, as before, we take strength in our family, being united and resolute. Kayvon and I, drawing on teachings from some 56 years ago at boarding school. Keep your head high. Do not relent. Stiff upper lip. This family, with each individual, is heartbroken, will not itself be broken, and will once again rally and collect itself. The individual heartbreak is more cutting because of who Nicholas was and represented. His siblings, cousins, and friends have and will speak at length of his character, warmth, sensitivity, independence, zest for life, humor, warrior mentality, purity, and sense of love, which I can only echo. On my part, suffice to say that it is simply unjust and agonizing to witness an individual with such characteristically to be so cruelly taken in his ascendancy and his opportunity to fulfill all the promises to be shattered. We are told that time is a healer. While that may be true for Nicholas' siblings, Tatiana, Karina, and Ashton, as was the case for Kayvon and I in the loss of our brother Homayun, unfortunately, as Kayvon and I personally witnessed with our parents, that will prove more challenging for Kayvon and Grace, as the scars of this wound will not fade and will remain manifestly evident. I hope that they will find solace in the wonderful memories that Nicholas has left them and take strength in Nicholas's own words when, knowing the inevitability of his own fate, he told them that they are to strive forward, keeping his memory and legacy alive and not become reclusive. They also need to take strength due to the fact that they did everything for him, whether conventional, unconventional, experimental, or otherwise in his treatment. Nicholas and I had a great bond. As John is like a son to Kayvon, Ashton and Nicholas have always been like sons to me. As you heard just now from John, Ashton, Nicholas, John and I became a foursome, the old fellow with the young Turks. I will sorely miss the very camaraderie John mentioned of our Saturdays, his absence on the field, and the empty chair. At the foretop with Portavia will not be a reminder of a permanent void. Nicholas' maturity was well beyond his age. He was his own man. In fact, the last time I visited with him, 2 days before he closed his eyes to this world, I asked him whether he was around 12 or 13 years old when he felt he was independent and indeed his own man. He crisply responded, "No, I was 9. One factor about Nicholas during this 7 years is that he never bent to vanity. In fact, despite the adverse effects of his treatments, he did not isolate himself or detach, but continued to live, love, travel, and remain positive, especially for those around him. I had my own endearing nickname for Nicholas. When he was a kid, I used to refer to him as Nicoboch. So here goes. I love you always and forever, my Nicoboch. Thank you.
I'm so grateful to you all for your immense kindness and generosity. It has been profound to feel Nicholas's impact at every chapter of his life. I spoke to Caroline Haim earlier, who described that when she first met Nicholas, it felt like he'd been a part of her whole life. It's as if we all originally have a puzzle piece missing from our makeups, and first meeting Nicholas places it in forever. I can so perfectly feel what it is like to be next to Nicholas. The electricity, the anticipation of comedy, the pure, always requited love. When we're with him, we shine brighter. The world has more color. The laughter is endless. The love radiates to every cell. You can't help but get physical, touching, feeling. It's almost like you crave taking in every sensation of those moments. I can still feel my nails dancing on his skin, his rhythmic breathing against my cheek, his laughter vibrating inside my chest. Looking at so many pictures and videos this week, I realized that the physical memories all make sense. I always had my hands on him. I had my arms wrapped around him when he was 13 months old on the stairs at Helen June's house with Johnny right alongside holding us both. I had my fingers on his neck as our family sang us both happy birthday. I prided myself in showing him what I call the longest nails in the history of the Nahai, Karendi, Musri, Maslavi family, just so I could give him his best ever kalakalik. Nicholas is an instantaneous, eternal beacon. From the moment he was born, he could naturally change the whole world around him. His brilliant mind would take in experiences and create genius commentary. His smile would start a domino effect. His step marked a path that others would want to join him on. He became everyone's favorite person. He made life so much fun. He is equal parts an old soul and one of us, always miles ahead, yet thrilled to be on our shared ride. He was blessed with incredible natural talent. Thinking of Nicholas is synonymous with thinking of his performances. It went from his elementary school holiday shows, and this is one of my first memories of him. He was on stage, very center. You saw this black curly hair and these big eyes, and then out of nowhere, you're singing on the first night of Christmas, and he's belting the 5 golden rings every verse. We were so proud. And then it comes to him performing in Rumors, his high school play, where Helen June and Mama Madge came and they were dressed to the nines. It looked like it was the first opening night on Broadway. They were coming to see him and took pictures next to his poster. And then it all added up to the right thing when they sat next to Annette Bening and Warren Beatty whispered, "Your son is a great actor." And then there was just the everyday. I remember vividly and hilariously at Stuart and my wedding, he turned his speech into the roast of Stuart. And it was right in front of the Roastmaster General, Jeff Ross himself. It was also incredibly funny because so many of our coworkers at WME were there, and Stuart's not a guy you poke jokes at. So it was an incredible response to watch Nicholas, this young boy, take the stage and make jokes that, to share my favorite, one along the lines of, "If I follow the Stuart philosophy of marriage, the love of my life is in kindergarten right now, probably eating glue." Nicholas, it's just Nicholas. Nicholas, he is like a conductor, gleefully playing his environment to the most deliciously exciting tune. And his nature remained steadfast when he was diagnosed. He instantaneously redefined what I thought human beings were capable of. I think what we all thought human beings were capable of. His base instinct and concern was always for those around him. His hand on my mom's knee, reassuring her before considering himself. His chahesh kar to my dad, to make sure that none of us are too distraught. His last words to my mom to call Addy. And there was always so much laughter. The hospital rooms became joyous. We chatted about sports, we guffawed at the inflated prices on The Price is Right, and we talked about politics. He famously told my mom that Ashton is the most conservative, he's the most pragmatically conservative, Tatiana is the leans the most liberal, and I'm whatever Stuart is. It's true. He constantly made the nurses laugh too. On his second to last visit to the hospital, he charmed his way into an early discharge on New Year's Eve so he could be with Addy. He told the doctor she was the second love of his life after Addy, she blushed, and asked the nurse when she would finish her shift and better that he would beat her home. There was not a moment in Nicholas's life, even with all that he went through, that he wasn't Nicholas. My mom told Nicholas and each of us that she believes his soul's journey to earth was to experience true love. True love from his fiancée, true love from his parents, true love from his siblings, true love from his friends and family. I told Nicholas that it's amazing that one man could have so many soulmates. In the phrase that you coined, Nicholas, my love, I love you from skin to soul. Now at this time, before we continue on with the speeches, we would love to invite you to watch a video about Nicholas. The most special thank you needs to go to Mike Taka, because he put this entire piece together. Thank you so much. And to note, when you hear the music, these are all some of Nicholas's favorite songs.
My classmates and teachers will remember me most by is a funny person who also loves money. And also when I played the grape in the Buckley play Beauty and the Beast, which many of my classmates saw and said I did a very good job on it.
But Tots has always been the big sister to me. She's paved the way for all of me, Karina, and Ashton's lives. She was the first one at our school, Buckley, and we've all been there for like 13 years. And I've got a feel for her because being the first child and being, the first daughter, my mom was always very strict with her. With her and Karina, when they were 13, she wouldn't let them see PG-13 movies because she didn't agree with the ratings. Meanwhile, I was seeing rated R movies before I knew what the word R meant. It was ridiculous. No, my other sister Karina, she's a talent agent. So you think, okay, this woman deals with celebrities and everything. You'd think that she would give you the best connections. Well, I gotta say, Tots has done work for me. She gave me an all-access pass a few weeks ago, actually, to this E3 convention, and it's a video game convention. And she was the only girl there, so she managed to get us in the front of the line everywhere. It was fantastic. Meanwhile, Karina, on the other hand, all she's ever done is taken me to a dinner with Adam Sandler's brother-in-law. On his birthday. I imagine he had no one else. He's a good guy. But me and Tots, we've always had a great relationship together. And she's always been introducing me into her life like Mike did with his little brothers. They're kind of similar in that sense, because I would remember she would invite me in her first year at Chapman. She'd take me to her Chapman dorms and everything and let me come over. That was actually where I first met Mike. And I remember all I had to say about it was, I can't believe you're dating a City fan. I mean, City and United are very big rivals. And when United lost the game once, she kicked a chair and sprained her ankle. So, a very passionate fan. You wouldn't see this coming. But, we've grown incredibly close as friends, all of us. But I do think Tots still sometimes sees me as the little brother. Just recently I was driving her to her hotel in downtown, and she looks at me very concerned, very mother-like. She's getting prepared. She's like, Nick, it's late. Are you okay to drive? I'm like, Tots, it's 9:30. But we truly do have much more than simply a brother-sister relationship. She's truly one of my best friends. But I don't think it's all so one-sided with her doing things for me. I put up with all of her nerd stuff that I've mentioned before. And I do enjoy it 99% of the time, but sometimes it can be excessive. Just to give you a little background, Tots has taken me to these video game conventions. She forced me to go to the Dragon Ball Z movie premiere in downtown in rush hour. But I've noticed a little connection between all of these. Is that the bulk of these crowds are all composed by sweaty men. I'm thinking she must have some sort of fascination with that. Mike, this bodes very well for you, is all I'm going to say.
Sweaty men.
But to get to the sappy stuff, just comment on the relationship a bit. It's been pointed out they've been together for so long. And, I've noticed they've gone through so much. They've moved cities, they've graduated colleges, had several different jobs, all that. They've gone through so much, but I've noticed that each other have always been the constant in each other's lives. Aww. And people are saying your sister's getting married. It's so big, but I don't feel like too much is changing because Mike has already been with the family for so long. He's already family to me. Before I sign off, I just gotta say one little PS. Mike, it's not too late to convert. And when I say convert, I mean become a United fan. If your kids are City fans, Tots won't love them. That's all I have.
I gotta testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day I die, I'ma touch the sky. Gotta testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day I die, I'ma touch the sky. Back when they thought pink polos would hurt the rock. Before Cam got the shit to pop, the doors is closed. I felt like bad boy street team. I couldn't work the locks. Now let's go. Take them back to the plan. Me and my mama hopped in that U-Haul van. Any pessimists, I ain't talk to them. Plus I ain't had no phone in my apartment. Let's take them back to the club. At least about an hour I stand online. I just wanted to dance. I went to Jacob an hour after I got my advance. I just wanted to shine. Jay favorite line, dog, in due time. Now they look at me like, damn, dog, you what I am. A hip-hop legend. I think I died in an accident, cause this must be heaven. I gotta testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day I die, I'ma touch the sky. Gotta testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. Yeah. For the day I die, I'ma touch the sky. Now let's take them high. Top of the world, baby. Top of the world. La 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 la. Top of the world, baby. Top of the world. Now let's take them high. Top of the world, baby. Top of the world. La 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 la. Top of the world, baby. Top of the world. Back when Gucci was the shit to rock. Back when Slick Rick got the shit to pop. I'd do anything to say I got it. Damn, them new loafers hurt my pocket. Before anybody wanted K-West beats, me and my girl split the buffet at KFC. Dog, I was having nervous breakdowns like, man, these niggas that much better than me. Baby, I'm going on an aeroplane, and I don't know if I'll be back again. Sure enough, I sent the plane tickets, but when she came to kick it, things became different. Any girl I cheated on, sheets and skeeted on, couldn't keep it at home, thought I needed a knee alone. I'm trying to right my wrongs, but it's funny them same wrongs help me write the song now. I gotta testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day you die, you gon' touch the sky. You gon' touch the sky, baby girl. Testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day you die, you gon' touch the sky.
Yes, yes, yes. Guess who's on third? Lupe still like Lupin the third. Here like here till I'm bitter on the curb. Peach fuzz buzz, but bitter on the verge. Let's slow it down like river on the serve. Bottle shaped body like Mrs. Butterworth. But before you say another word, I'm back on the block like I'm laying on the street. I'm trying to stop lying like I'm Umbra, but I'm not lying when I'm laying on the beat. On guard, a touche, Lupe, cool as the unthawed, but I still feel possessed as a gun charge. To come as correct as a porn star. And a fresh pair of steps and my best foreign car. So, I represent the first, now let me end my verse right where the horns are like,
I gotta testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day you die, you gon' touch the sky. You gon' touch the sky, baby girl. Testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day you die, yeah, you gon' touch the sky. We back at home, baby. Sky high. I'm sky high.
But I got smarter, I got harder in the nick of time. I'm being rose up from the dead, I do it all the time. I'm gonna listen to yours, a secret underlined. She was in a jacket twice. Oh, look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. Look what you just did.
Never been a better change, but I follow you to any place.
Nick, get in here.
I'm so happy she didn't run into that parking
Nick is
lot.
my littlest boyfriend, and I love him.
Aw,
even
I
though
love you
I
too,
think
Kayla.
that I own her, even though there's no ownership of a woman.
But a little bit.
Please welcome to the stage, Nicholas Nahai, the stand-up guy.
Hey y'all. So I just recently became an uncle. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah, she's a beautiful baby girl, and I'm so obsessed with her, but also very relieved about that beauty, because we don't talk about this, but ugly babies are a thing, and it's really fucking tragic. You know, I'm talking about the type of baby where you see a photo and you just gotta put on that fake smile, and all you can say is, "Oh, she looks like the father." Yeah, and it's hard enough for parents to look after their kids, let alone to have to look at them. You know, if you think about it, kids for the first 5 years of their life are basically trying to kill themselves. They take one good whiff of life and decide, I'm out, I didn't ask for this shit. Like, you think, like, putting a fork in the electric socket, like, where does that brilliance come from? Like, anytime a child passes away like that, we just lost the next Elon Musk. That kid's a fucking innovator. This is something I can relate to a lot myself, because my body has tried to kill itself time and time again. You know, it started when I was just a wee little fetus. I managed to tie my umbilical cord into 2 knots. Yeah, I hadn't even come out of the womb yet, and I was already thinking, check please. And then around 4th grade, my appendix decided to pay homage to my Persian roots by blowing up, barring itself all over my internal organs. And then it was about 1.5 years ago where I got cancer in the heart. Yeah, my insurance company fucking loves me. Fortunately, we're in remission now, but back when I had that initial heart, no, thank you, please. Back when I had that initial heart surgery, I remember my doctor telling me, you know, Nick, there's a very good chance that in cutting out the tumor, we may damage your valve beyond repair, and we'll have to replace it with significant side effects. And you know, it's very comforting to hear from your surgeon right before surgery about how likely he is to fuck up. Like, is this not your job, my G? How about we just not do this? How about we just make this a successful exchange, you know what I'm saying? But growing up, you know, I was very lucky. You know, my parents gave me a lot of love, but they were very relaxed on me because I was the triple threat. The 4th child, a boy, and an accident. I find it funny that we call it an accident because, you know, an accident, if I drop this mic right now, you know, like, giving life to an unplanned human that you did not want, that's a fucking mistake. How many accidents have you had that are costing you 60 grand a year in tuition? But, you know, this whole dynamic with my parents shifted because they became a lot more involved once cancer happened. For instance, my dad, you know, he ordered this healing honey from Israel. Taking one good look at it and thinking, oh yes, bees. Baba, this makes perfect sense. Meanwhile, my mom got these pretty nasty liquid multivitamins for me to take every day because nothing cures cancer like vitamin C. And, you know, this might be controversial, but I'm a big fan of Western medicine. I'm a real old school, you know, FDA clinical trial. You know, I've been through some shit, but cancer wasn't the worst of it. You know, if I was listing my 3 biggest traumas, maybe 3 chemo, 2 heart surgery, 1 getting my eyebrows threaded. Yeah, I was in 7th grade. And, you know, people who normally get their eyebrows threaded would be like some of the women here who already have perfectly pristine eyebrows until I walked in with a fucking unibrow and the whole building went into a frenzy. The receptionist behind the desk had to break the emergency glass and pull the lever entitled Sephardic Jew. I'm telling you, it was all hands on deck. I swear, the procedure actually took longer than the fucking heart surgery. By the time they finished, all the fucking hair had grown back. I've been through a lot in life, but at the end of the day, it wasn't cancer that had me crying like a bitch in the mall parking lot to my disappointed mother. And thank you all for your time today.
time. One more time. One more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright. Don't stop the dancing. One more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright. Don't stop the dancing. One more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright. Don't stop the dancing. One more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah. One more time. One more time, we're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright. Don't stop the dancing. One more time, we're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, don't stop the dancing. One more time. You know I'm just feeling celebration tonight. Celebrate. Don't wait too late. No, we don't stop. You can't stop. We're gonna celebrate. One more time. One more time. One more time. A celebration. You know we're gonna do it right tonight. Hey, just feel it. Music's got me feeling the need. Yeah. Come on. Alright, we're gonna celebrate one more time. Celebrate and dance so free. Music's got me feeling so free. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free.
Special people I know, two of the most stubborn people I know. I'm very excited to see what that culmination of stubbornness brings. I think Alana will be putting them through what they put us on. As Adriana mentioned, she will either be the leader of the free world or a terrific dictator. I call her Alana Gorbachev. Lastly, I have to mention I'm a little bit maybe salty, a little jealous for one reason. This baby has not yet left Tots, and she's already more well-traveled than me. Last week, she was very much chilling in the womb, enjoying chendol by the beaches of Singapore. I was having Israeli's finest instant coffee. But we're all just very blessed. As they say, the best things are the ones worth waiting for, and how did they make us wait? How are we all doing tonight? Hey, we got any cancer survivors in the audience? Damn, I guess that shit really is deadly, huh? I say this because last year was a bit of a roller coaster for me. The day started with me getting my summer internship and ended with me having heart cancer. Oh, don't give me that pity. Come on, you see these eyebrows are back in full force. We're chilling now. And hey, you know what? Cancer had its fucking perks. I got out of all my finals. My friends got me weed. My sisters got me video games. My brother got me motherfucking Yeezys. And I can see that look to a full 180. You know, you're pitying me before, but now you're like, damn, that cancer shit don't seem so bad. Well, before you guys start tanning with no sunscreen, let me tell you. Cancer's not all it's cracked up to be. Well, the thing that sucked is you lose your hair. And like, you know, I mentioned my eyebrows, like that's like 50% of my fucking face. Can you guys imagine me with no hair? I brought a picture of it, just, you know, I think the visual really speaks volumes. Yeah, I was that world record egg the whole time. But the most disrespectful bit of it is the parking, the hospital. It's $20 a day. Like, that's what I pay to park when I'm seeing LeBron and the Lakers. Like, bitch, that's courtside prices. Like, my friends and family gotta pay to see me dunk on cancer. Low-key, I had sex with my girlfriend in the hospital bed. And yeah, I figured, you know, they're charging me fucking hotel prices. I want the hotel experience. And, you know, with cancer, your body is constantly at war with itself, and that's extremely fitting for me, being a Persian Iraqi Jew. Every bit of me hates itself. You know, as a Persian Iraqi, sometimes it's hard to feel welcome in this country. You know, as a Jew, you can feel welcome in this country, but you don't feel welcome pretty much anywhere else in the world. You know, you go to Israel, they take a look at these eyebrows, they gotta take me aside for questioning. Go to Iran, they see Israel on the passport, shot on sight. And you know, everyone keeps texting me, oh, I'm gonna send you my thoughts and prayers. Like, I hope that's a fucking caption of the Venmo you're sending me. What the hell am I supposed to do with that? It's a sweet gesture, but it's basically like, you know, when you get a birthday card from your grandma, and you open it and you don't see that crisp $20 bill inside. It's like, you know, the gesture is sweet, but you can't help but feel a little disappointed. You know, like, I'm a Marshall student, business major, big capitalism guy. Like, I thought I was about to enter a fucking bull market, and I was sad when I wasn't getting those dividends. Like, not gonna lie, shitty situation for me. Nobody got screwed worse than my insurance company. I've been fucking up my whole life. Like, they're looking at this kid, perfect genes, that's easy money. Then 4th grade, I did him with a little appendicitis. 11th grade, I hit them with the deviated septum, sinus issues, and navel deficiency. And then last year was a fucking trifecta. Heart surgery, 6 rounds of chemo. Now I'm on these little chemotherapy pills to top it off. Man, I fucked them so bad, I sent them a Valentine's Day card. One thing USC and cancer has in common is we fight on. Thank you guys. But Madison was talking about what being Jewish meant to her, so I thought I'd talk about what being Jewish meant to me. It's a bit of a conundrum every now and then because, you know, you go to Subway and the ham sandwiches are cheaper, so it's like, which one's better? Am I a good Jew for getting the ham, or am I a good Jew for going for the cheaper one, you know? And then, you know, you have to replace the children's college fund with the nose job fund, and one of them will get you a lot further in life than the other, I've come to realize. And then the biggest one about being Jewish I found is demanding your nephew do stand-up without a single shekel of payment. At the very least, I figured, let me go to the bar. They started pulling out the Jose Cuervo. I was like, please, at least the Don Julio. I said single, double. I said, please, triple. Let me get my payment one way or another. But yeah, I'm used to it. You know, my internship, my boss's name is Neil Morgenbesser, so that's definitely unpaid. But it's been an amazing trip, like really. And I just recently got my port out of my arm, and thank you. And we were able to replace that port with the tefillin. One is an invasive surgery, but somehow the tefillin is still more expensive. I can't explain it. It is fine Italian leather. But, William and Madison, you guys have really blossomed into mature men and women. No, I swear to God that I remember you guys were like such little kids, and I was like seeing you almost as tall as me. It's ridiculous, I swear to God. And but William, you were telling me about how you were wearing the do-rags to school. I have to say, you're a cool kid, but I think I like you a lot more in the kippahs myself. No, but I love Israel. It's an amazing place for me. 2 years ago, I went on the first time for Birthright, and I extended it after. And that whole trip, I like barely ever wore sunscreen, and I never got burnt at all. Now 2 years later, I guess I'm getting older. But you know, I was a brown egg on chemo, and I became a cherry tomato in Israel. But yeah, no. On that trip, I actually ended up running into Jack and Adele at the hotel we were staying at, just purely by coincidence. And they insisted that one night, Nick, we're gonna take you out, we're gonna go out with them. I'm thinking like, okay, you know, I'm with all my friends, but like, you know, maybe a chill night, I'll go out with them for a bit, see how it goes. And, you know, Jack has been sober for like decades now, big congrats to him on that, but he ensured that I would make up for all of his lost time that night. And frankly, you see these scars? This wasn't from surgery. This is like, that was just a cover story. I was covering for Jack on that. I survived Jack, but only barely. I survived Jack, and I have the scars to prove it. And you know, this time they've been a lot more tame, thankfully. You know, they took us all out. I was getting a little nervous. Mama Madge came with us, but I was like, but they took a more subtle approach this time around. And I have to say, but I'm so proud of Mama Madge, not only for organizing this trip, but how incredible she's been on it. The woman is fresh off a sprained ankle, and she was like running circles around us today. I swear to God, I went to go help her on the bus. She helped me on the bus. I was dying. She was ready to carry me on the spot. I swear to God. And all the women, Karina pregnant, and she's like going all over the place. Like me, Mike, and Stuart, bench was 400 pounds. We were like barely could keep up, and we had like the extra space with the air-conditioned room. We were still like suffering the whole way, I swear to God. I think their Ashkenazi side has been rubbing off on me, I have to say. But I think that's about all that I could have mustered in that 5 minutes. Big thanks for the whole family for putting this all together. Incredible trip, everything. William, Madison, you guys have killed it. Your ceremony, literally, I can't tell you how bad my reading was compared to you guys. I was so impressed, and honestly, yeah, you guys are just killing it, honestly. So proud of you guys. And here's to many more memories together. Huh?
Wait, who's Chris Carson? I feel like you want to put 49ers. That's a good matchup. You want to put Chris Carson, I think.
I know, I'm going to do it a little bit later though, so it doesn't deflate.
We'll see how he does this week.
Let's do a tight end. Quickly, Nick, I was thinking about picking him up.
Evan Ingram, dude. He's a god.
But Tennessee is the best against... Oh wait, no, Washington. Oh wait, Tennessee. Tennessee is the best against tight ends. Let me see the one. Shut down defensive tight ends. I don't trust it. Dude, did McDonald's have a good game? No, McDonald's. Whatever, I'd ride with you.
Dude, Hooper's good. I'd be thrilled with Hooper, frankly.
Would you?
Yeah. Dude, he has a nice floor, and then like decent touchdown threat to go for double digits. You take that.
Did you have a good birthday? Gosh, the dinner was good, right? Dinner was good.
Yeah, it's a great restaurant.
Your dad loved it.
No, it was really good. It's a nice vibe.
Nick, what are you doing?
There's a little stain on the floor.
Aww.
So you're gonna get... I don't know if I need to get this Paul Smith suit.
Why not? You need a good suit.
Yeah. Even with the discount, it's so expensive. Maybe better off at Suit Supply. I'll go to what they have.
It's pretty similar to Supply.
It really is.
Yeah.
It has a better name.
I guess we have the Palm Springs weddings coming up. That could be fun.
Oh wait, this is a video. If it's a video, tell me how much you love me.
I love you very much. Happy Mother's Day.
I love you too.
Thank you for sitting with me.
Oh, it's my favorite time is just being with you.
Hey Mom, I love you so much. I really do miss you like crazy. I appreciate you, just everything you do for me. Your love just makes my life so magical and so easy. I'm very blessed you're my mother. And tonight is just like a night I need to be with Addy. I can't let her be home alone. But I can't wait to see you soon. I love you so much. And I need a big hug from you.
Is come and gone. Suddenly this summer it's clear. I never had the courage of my convictions, as long as danger is near. And it's just around the corner, darling, 'cause it lives in me. No, I could never give you peace. I'm a fire and I'll keep your brittle heart warm. If your cascade ocean wave blues come, all these people think love's for show, but I would die for you in secret.
I've always felt this way. I remember when I graduated high school, I was like, I had such a great experience and such a great, such great years. I was like, even though I was like, I feel so grateful for my time. It's like, I don't know. I've always had a weird relationship with death. I've always accepted it and never feared it, even if it was early. Because my time spent has always been so good. Even that was like my thought at graduation, or it's a morbid thought. I don't know why I had it, but yeah, still feel that way to this day. I just it's tougher when you're older because now you have relationships and this and that, which it's just harder to give up. But from a personal standpoint, my life is incredible. You know, who can complain?
You know, you asked so politely, how can I say no? All I can say, I know we all want to enjoy the beautiful cake laid before us, so I'll keep it very short and sweet. All I can say is I always, from when I was a little boy to now, I've always felt very privileged to have such a warm family and so many people who I could turn to for love, warmth, entertainment, everything. So many different beautiful personalities coming together, and it really showcases on evenings like this where we all just have a wonderful time together. Never an ounce of drama or this or that. We're all just happy to be in each other's company, and it's moments like these that what really is what life is all about. So thank you for delivering another one, especially in these trying times, as the commercials like to tell us. But yeah, thank you all, and enjoy the cake.
We love you, Nicholas.
We're going to continue with the speeches at this time. Next, I'd like to invite Stuart.
Stuart. I'm married to Karina. I'm also known as the white guy in the Nahai family. It's actually Mike too. Got your back, Mike. I also have the honor and privilege, like everyone here, of knowing Nicholas Nahai. I first met Nick when I started dating Karina in 2016. It was a pretty startling experience. He was this Sephardic kid who was the closest incarnation of sort of Rodney Dangerfield meets Larry David. He was constantly making digs, looking for the jab, immediately trying to find the joke in everything. In my case, it was mostly my age difference with Karina, which is 13 years, depending on the time of year. So according to Nick, I was a child predator. But, you know, Nick would start talking about me robbing the cradle, and he would ask what it was like when me and Kayvon would go to Studio 54 in the 70s. You know, great times, Kayvon, really. Go through the days. I just want to be clear, I think the sort of industry standard on age appropriate is half your age plus 7, so I have like a 3-4 year kind of buffer there. While Nick would have his way with me at every turn, he was also the kindest, most generous person I know. He was loyal beyond words. We traveled the world together, Israel, Puglia, New York, Vegas more times than I can remember. My personal favorite memories were in Vegas because we would always have a family dinner, and afterwards, as Grace would migrate to the Pi Gow tables, the crew, which would usually be Nick, Ashton, Karina, and Tatiana when she would come in from New York, would head over to the craps tables to watch Kayvon. Usually didn't go that great, but it didn't really matter if he won or lost. They just loved being together. And I was in awe of this family, and they would stay together until all hours of the night just because they wanted to be around each other. I often wonder what was wrong with them. I also have so many memories of dinners Karina and I would have at home. We saw some of them up there. For all the, you know, kind of amazing qualities of the Nahais and the Musries, punctuality is not one of their qualities. Nick was always the first one there and the last to leave, very often with Addy by his side. Ashton would always be late. Nick would come and spend time with us even when he wasn't feeling great. I'll always remember the love he and Karina shared. A good friend of mine described that love as a true miracle of life. And I don't think there's any better way to see it. Nick was a miracle. I saw Nick the day before his passing, and we walked together. You know, he was leaning on my arm, walking around the hospital, and he still had this smirk on his face and would still pop an occasional joke. He was so brave and magnetic, even in the ICU. I will always remember Nick that way, and I will miss him every day. Thank you.
And next, we would love to welcome Tara to speak.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Grace, Kayvon, Ashton, Tatiana, and Karina, for giving me the honor about speaking about this truly amazing human. To know Nicholas is to be intoxicated by his laugh, to feel the warmth of his smile shining on his shoulders, and to be held up by his strength. Every time I sat down to write this, I heard his voice, and I asked him, how can I even begin to capture your essence? Do I talk about growing up with you as the baby of our family, yet you were the strongest, most courageous, and wisest of us all? Do I talk about your inner child that sparked at every corner of your humor and vivacious spirit? Or your teenage self that invited us into your budding world of sports, friendship, and promises kept? Or how you became a young man whose intelligence was coupled with your joie de vivre? Or about the wise man whose greatest lesson to us was how to love even deeper, be ever more in the present moment, and understand how much your own family is the greatest gift. Nicholas, I would do anything to hug you one more time and tell you how much I love you, and really linger on the word and the feeling of holding you tight, knowing full well you were the one holding me up. I have all these running metaphors for you in my head, and the one that sticks out most is you being like the Titan Atlas that was sentenced by the gods to hold the weight of the heavens, because that's exactly what you did. You held the weight of your cancer on your shoulders and assured all of us you were okay, even in the face of insurmountable pain. And that's not to take away from the diligence, devotion, and dedication showcased by your parents and siblings or the love of your life, Addy, but is merely to try and demonstrate just how selfless you always were. You, my baby cousin, who held my hand as you took me to my 10-year reunion and your 5-year reunion. You who's immediately shrouded in the most affectionate hellos, because how could anyone know you and not fall in love instantaneously? You who commanded every room with your wit. You whose optimism made the world an endless rainbow. You who took every opportunity to experience the simplest pleasures with new eyes. You who embraced us with every facet of your being. You who chased life. You, my hero. I also think about all the stupid things that made us laugh, like how Buckley once messed up your photo in the yearbook, and it was that of your friend Aaron's in your place, and we were just in stitches about it over and over again. All those core memories, because in Grace and Kayvon's home, I had the best of both worlds. Late nights with Tatiana and Karina talking about anything and everything in their rooms, and then early mornings sneaking downstairs to play Mario Party with you and Ashton. That playroom, your house, it had this magical quality where innocence could persevere. That was one of the most beautiful and almost befuddling things about you, Nicholas, your innocence. You loved so unconditionally, even when everything around you wanted to embitter your pure soul. You gave us all a fuller childhood, and during COVID, we got to be those children together once again, in that jewel box of Helen Jane's home that reminded us that no matter how much time had passed, we could be transported right back into loving cousins eating Kit Kats that were inseparable parts of a whole. We played new games too, like backgammon on Saturday afternoon in my family's backyard, after lunches where you taught us about stocks, told us about your job, and we reviewed that morning's soccer match. If you ever got to play Nicholas in backgammon, which means if you ever had the pleasure of being royally beaten by him at it, then you understand how his mind works so many steps ahead and could foresee all the possible outcomes. Nicholas was steps ahead in life too. He would guide you to your next play without you realizing, so he could protect you from whatever the dice had in store next. I know he's up there, still moves ahead of us, smiling as he opens the board, sets up the pieces, and throws that first dice.
And next, we would love to welcome Gabby to speak.
I only began building a strong connection with Nicholas a few years ago. But I vividly remember the first time I realized that he could light up any room he walked into, and I was astonished by him. His smile and laughter were so contagious they could brighten anyone's day. A few summers ago, I had the the most incredible opportunity to travel to Italy for my cousin's wedding with my grandmother, Mama Madge. I didn't know anyone there my age besides my family, but I'll never forget how Nicholas would text me every day and call me, inviting me to join him and Ashton on any adventure they would do. Thanks to him, I had the most magical time at the wedding. I remember calling my mom to tell her how much he made that trip so special for me, and that I loved spending time with him. Nicholas and I danced all night at the wedding. We were the last ones on the dance floor, jumping up and down, so happy and carefree. That night is one of my favorite memories with Nicholas, and I'll always remember that time. Growing up, I looked up to Ashton and Nicholas. Since I don't have any older siblings, they were like my older brothers to me. I remember them always taking me to my swimming lessons when I was a little girl. Though of course, they had to be bribed by my parents with chocolate chip pancakes, which has become an ongoing joke in our family to this day. I'm beyond grateful for Mama Madge and my mom for always hosting our family Shabbats and game nights. I would always look forward to going to Mama Madge's house for Shabbat, knowing I'll get to spend quality time with Nicholas and all my cousins. Nicholas brought so much love and laughter to those nights, and his presence was truly irreplaceable. If he wasn't there, you could feel that something was missing. This past summer, I recently moved to Arizona to start my freshman year of college. I was so nervous about leaving home and my family, but Nicholas made me calm with the idea of starting this new chapter of my life. He reassured me that everything would be okay, and I would have the most amazing time. Nicholas, being the jokester that he was, told me, "You better stick to sports while you're there. You don't want to catch the freshman 15. The last time I saw Nicholas was in the hospital. He was in so much pain, yet even then he was trying to make me laugh. Despite everything he was going through over the past years, he never once complained to anyone. I have not heard him one time to complain about what he was going through. Out of the whole 7 years, I never not once have heard him complain. That alone shows you the kind of incredible man Nicholas was. Strong, selfless, and always thinking about others. After leaving Nicholas, I felt so sad for him, seeing him in so much pain. But I know that he's at peace now. I will never forget how during that visit he told me how proud he was of me. And how much he loved me. Those words mean the world to me, and I will treasure him forever. Thank you.
Next, we would like to invite another of Nicholas's, excuse me. Next, we would like to invite Angela to speak.
thank you for being here. I want to take a moment to express our gratitude. Thank you for all the love, all the calls, all the texts. I received so many texts and 90% of them had the same 4 words. There are no words. And that's the absolute truth. There are no words. How do you explain? How do you come back with an answer? How do you soothe the pain? How do you describe the enormity of this loss? Nicholas was the baby of our family. It was pure joy, pure light, pure love, and pure courage. His presence filled every room with warmth. His spirit was a beacon that guided us through both joyful and challenging times. Grace, Kayvon, Behzad, and I have always been lucky in the fact that our kids grew up as siblings. I can still hear them running up and down that spiral staircase at their grandparents' home, and I still see the 5 of them protecting baby Nicholas. Those memories are etched in my heart, a testament to the bond they shared and the love they surrounded Nicholas with. During these past few years, when Behzad, John, Nick, and Ashton had their weekly soccer game, my first question would always be, did Nick have a good game? Did Nick score? Nothing else mattered. Their game was always followed by lunch at our house, working at our little garage gym, and then great conversations about anything and everything. I was always in awe of the young men our boys have become, and always in love and appreciation of their brotherhood. And my biggest admiration has always been for Nick's family, his beautiful siblings, Tatiana, Karina, and Ashton, who were always by his side. And then his amazing parents. His dad, Kayvon, who never left a stone unturned, and who fought with every ounce of his being, who was on the computer morning to do research, talk to experts, all of it, and bring impossible ideas to life. And then there is Grace, beautiful Grace, my sister Grace. Grace who never left Nicholas's side for 1 second. Grace who was there for every visit, every scan, every treatment, every good news, and unfortunately the bad. She would not even listen to the bad. Grace and Kayvon would always find a new way, a new path, a new treatment. They fought, and Nicholas's army fought alongside them. It is, of course, because of their non-stop resilience that we had our beloved Nicholas for as long as we did. Nicholas's love for his family and for his beautiful fiancée, Addy, was the fuel that gave him the energy to consider any treatment that came his way. But at the end, all I know is that Nicholas was a gift, and then he was stolen from us. Thank you.
Next, we would love to invite Auntie Ruth to speak.
Nicholas was a remarkable young man, our darling nephew, who fought the bravest battle for 7 long years. He was only 26 years old. He was a warrior from the start, facing each challenge with a strength that bellied his years. Through all the treatments, the ups and the downs, he never complained, nor did he allow you to ever feel sorry for him. Instead, he approached life with a resilience that inspired everyone around him. He had an incredible ability to find humor in the darkest of moments, often making us laugh when we least expected it. His infectious laughter and quick wit brought joy to our lives and reminded us all to cherish every moment. Nick had a unique way of seeing the world, always finding beauty in the simplest things. His big brown eyes always had a sparkle and would warm you right up. He was always so easy to talk to. He connected to so many on the deepest levels. He was the purest of hearts. Nicholas was the most loyal and loving son, brother, cousin, and darling nephew. And the way he loved and cherished Addy, the love of his life, a once-in-a-lifetime kind of love. I'm just so thankful that he experienced such a love in his lifetime. He loved and he was loved fiercely. He had the most beautiful relationship with his parents, who were his greatest supporters, especially with Grace, the way they would talk to each other, the way he would worry for her. Ashton, your bond with Nicholas is unbreakable, not just in life, but in death. Love never dies. Tatiana and Karina, I know he always looked up to you both with the greatest and utmost respect for who you both are. He truly adored you and was so very proud of you. And although he was the youngest, he still acted as your protector. As we remember Nicholas today, let us celebrate his bravery, his humor, and his unwavering spirit. Let us carry forward the lessons he taught us about resilience, laughter, and love, and most of all, unity. His legacy will live on in our hearts of all who knew him. We can only be grateful for the time that we had with such a remarkable soul. His life deserves to be celebrated. Grace and Kayvon, he will always be your son. He will always be with you and a part of you and the family. And you will see him again. Rest peacefully, my angel. You fought valiantly, and your light will continue to shine brightly in our lives. Thank you for the love and the laughter you brought into our world. You will be deeply missed and forever cherished. Take care of Amelia. I love you. That's you, Ruth.
Now we would like to invite another of Nicholas's best friends, Aaron, to speak.
Hi everyone, thank you for being here to celebrate Nicholas. My name is Aaron, and I'm privileged that Nick has been my best and longest friend for more than 20 years. Our friendship began in pre-K, where we were inseparable, to the point where they confused our names and faces in yearbooks. We even became closer through our time in high school and college, where we spent time as roommates. In every essence, Nick was my #1 friend. He was even my first friend on Facebook. He actually convinced me to get Facebook in 4th grade when he was so happy to find out we could finally play virtual Uno together. It was like we never had to rely on our parents for a playdate anymore. Nick loved all these types of games: Uno, Catan, backgammon, Mario Party, probably because he was so damn good at them. There's lots to share about Nick through his treatment and his perseverance, but knowing him, he'd want me to share the positives, so I'm going to spend this time sharing some thoughts on laughter and love. To be around Nick was a shot of pure dopamine, unfiltered happiness, and unfiltered joy. In every essence, he was an entertainer, and he loved to make his friends laugh. For his friends, making us laugh was second nature, and he could do it in so many ways. With a signature Nick eyebrow raise, us watching him pace around the room as he watched his Clippers blow another lead, grabbing his index finger, piercing it into his palm so nervously you'd think he ruptured his skin, or simply watching the master go to work at the crafts table, hearing him politely yell, "Hey, give me 20 on yo," or "Give me an 8, the hard way." I think he burned more calories pacing around his room watching the Clippers than he ever did at the gym. His humor came in many forms, my favorite of which were always his off-the-cuff comments and one-off jokes. I remember a story he told me when Tatiana was pregnant a few years ago. Karina reached out to Ashton and Nick, asking if they want to chip in for a communal gift, and she decided the best gift would be a stroller. Of course, Nick and Ashton said yes, and asked Karina, "Let us know how much to Venmo you." Karina let them know it would be $400 for each sibling, to which Nick told me, "Dude, I didn't know we were buying Tots the Rolls Royce of strollers." I learned over the years, Nick making us laugh was just one of the many ways he loved to show us all of his love, and he really was a man of so much love. He loved his dear Clippers, Man United, Game Show Network. He loved his dogs, Rooney, Junie, Georgie, and Brando, or as Nick would say, Brando Boych. And of course, he loved all the Nahais, and he took the time to let all of his friends know how much he loved every single one of his siblings and family. Karina, he loved sharing all your accomplishments and how much you progressed Kid Cudi's career. He was always so proud when he met Stuart, who he only referred to us as Big Stu. Apparently, Stuart, we never formally met, but you're an absolute menace under the bench press. Tatiana, he loved bonding with you over video games like Final Fantasy and Kingdom of Hearts, and sending me your tweets of Man U's shambolic performances or your appearances on Sky Sports. He also couldn't stop gushing about Alana and how perfect of a child she is, and loved his time with Alana, you, and Mike. Ash, he loved everything about you. It was a running joke amongst our friends that everything quality that Nick had came from Ashton. His wardrobe, his phrases, his style, you name it, it came from Ashton. Eventually, Nick carved out his own niche, his own style, but only after many, many Ashton hand-me-downs. You guys really did everything together, and he backed you all the way. Sometimes that led to glory, like when Man City's Raheem Sterling missed an absolute sitter in front of goal in the Champions League versus Lyon. And other times it led to Ashton bamboozling Nick into investing in African artwork situated in a suspicious Delaware warehouse. You truly were his #1 best friend, an absolute role model. Addy, he adored you from your early days at Chapman. When Nick, Daniel, and I were living together, he didn't want a weekend spent without you, and there was no one who meant as much to Nick or made him as giddy or feel as loved as you did. From his treatment to his absolutely hideous turquoise blue Hyundai Sonata, you were through his side and by him for everything. Nick would probably correct me right now and say, actually, the car was electric blue, and he got the best damn deal in the lot for that car. Addy, you're so special, and I'm so thankful Nick had you by his side for all these years, and that you let him spend so much time with all of his friends, or as he called us, the boysies. Grace and Kayvon, you raised one hell of a son. I'm so proud and thankful I got to spend 20 years of my life with my heart so full from his presence and laughter, and I know so much comes from you two and the rest of your family. Nick, you filled our lives with so much joy and gave us so much strength. I hope to bring your light in moments when others find it dark, and comfort others as much as you comforted us. I know the crafts table is waiting for you up there, with many, many eights rolled, the hard way, of course. I love you always, my friend and my brother. I also have some words to share on behalf of Nick's friend Michael, who wishes he could be here but couldn't make it tonight. Here are his words. My name is Michael, and Nick wasn't only my best friend, but a brother. As I'm thinking about what to write and how to phrase it, I think of Nick, who was always so eloquent in how he spoke. He had such sophisticated vocabulary, whether he was performing brilliant stand-up or arguing that Clippers were destined to make it past the second round that year. I met Nick in 6th grade. Naturally, with the two bushiest sets of eyebrows at Buckley, we were destined to be best friends from the very start. From that moment on, the laughs never stopped. From Coachella to Israel to Vegas, Nick was an amazing travel buddy who not only made a grueling plane or car ride entertaining, but also made for unforgettable trips and memories. From the best jump shot out of East Compton on the basketball court to the enforcer on the soccer field, Nick always strived for victory. That mentality didn't change over the past 7 years, in which Nick handled his diagnosis better than I've ever seen. As a medical student, I've seen many patients struggle with bad news or a speed bump in their treatment plan, but Nick handled things differently. Throughout his treatments and remission, he had such a positive outlook, and his confidence and strength never wavered. He was always smiling, cracking jokes, and uplifting others. 2 months ago, after a change in treatment plan when things weren't going his way, he was discharged from the hospital, which he liked to call the gulag. Instead of sulking or worrying, Nick's first instinct was to be surrounded by friends, and we enjoyed each other's company like it was any other night. This embodies who Nick was and who I aspire to be, a man who lived in the moment and rolled with the punches. Over the past couple months, I was fortunate enough to live in LA. I was able to spend more time with my best friend, and for that, I am forever grateful. Nick, I love you and miss you so much. I know you're looking down on us and watching over us every day. What I would give for another trip, joke, or sports bet with you. Goodbye for now, my friend. I hope to laugh with you again soon.
And finally, we would love to welcome the true love of Nicholas's life, Addy.
Hi everybody, thank you for being here. So nice to see everyone and hear all the lovely words. So for the burial, I wrote Nick a letter and I read it to him a few days before he passed. For this, I hope you will indulge me. I also wrote Nick a letter and I'm hoping to speak to him tonight. Dear Nick, it was beautiful outside when you passed away. It was like the whole world was holding its breath, cool and sunny, with the break in the Santa Ana winds, which caused the air to be clear. When I got to your hospital bed, you had already passed. I feel some regret about that, but I know you would have told me not to worry about it. It was hard for me to see your body like that. I had never seen a dead body before. Some machines were still whirring uselessly. The light was warmer than I expected, a wash of buttered yellow. I didn't much want to spend time with your dead body. I was afraid somehow that my memories with your corpse would replace the memories of you alive. But my mom was there and she told me I wouldn't have much time left with your body. She encouraged me to spend time with you. I'm glad she did. I stroked your freckles with my thumb, I kissed your neck, and I laid down on your shoulder. I told you I loved you. Still smelled like yourself. I thought I could anticipate how it would feel when you died. By now I have experienced my world crashing down so many times. The cancer came back. The chemo isn't working. I have to go to the emergency room. I was expecting a similar feeling. The rug pulling out from under me. My heart dropping to the floor. But it wasn't like that. The sadness remained. My concern for you. It all deepened. But I also felt some relief. I always told you that someday, one way or the other, we would both find peace. You know I never told you platitudes, so I think you know what I meant by that. There are so many things about grief I couldn't anticipate. I was so worried about not being able to chat with you, not being able to feel your presence. But I still chat with you all the time, and I feel you everywhere. What I really miss is your love, your constant, all-encompassing love for me. For 8 years, my entire life has been about loving you and receiving your love. Of course, I don't have you around to talk some sense into me in that loving, firm way you always would. But I've known you so deeply and for so long that I can give myself those talks now. I still have all the love you gave me. It lives inside me, and the confidence I have for myself, and the conviction that I always deserve to be loved completely. It also lives in all the relationships we carefully cultivated together. But what about my love for you? Where does that go? I wanted to give it to you for the rest of my life, and it would have made me so happy. Then I think about Harold and Maude, one of my favorite movies that you didn't care for that much. When Maude is dying, Harold says, "But I love you," and she replies, "That's wonderful. Now go love some more." Now it's my turn to reassure you. I know your favorite song was Peace by Taylor Swift. Because you shared my Spotify account, I could see that you would often listen to the song over and over by yourself on long drives. I would always know to give you extra love on those days. The lyrics in that song that keep floating up to me go like this. You know that I'd swing with you for the fences, give you my wild, give you a child. Would it be enough if I could never give you peace? I don't think that you were ever haunted by existential questions, but I know if you were ever kept awake at night, it was from that question. Would it be enough if I could never give you peace? And I hope you always knew, because everyone around you would show it in a million different ways, that it was always enough. I wish you could feel all the love everyone has for you. You would be so proud of your family and friends, buoying each other up during this terrible storm. The love is immense, Nick. But I know that you knew that. There was never anything left unsaid to you or loving words left on the table. If anything, I think the enormity of this love scared you. You always wanted to feel normalcy and give normalcy to everyone else. You were afraid of how our enormous love for you would hurt us. I wish you could see what I now understand so clearly, but the hurt, the pain, it's all just love. It's love all the way down. We are so grateful for you. How you would break through your unimaginable pain to make everyone feel so special, and how you fought for so long to stay with us. I hope you can feel the reverberations of that. All the love you created, I think it will echo forever. It was never just enough, it was more than enough. A gift I will work the rest of my life to pay back to you. I love you. Your family and your friends love you.